She was alive 5 minutes ago. That's what every single person inside the Soho exhibit swore. They weren't just guessing. They had video proof. Hundreds of Instagram stories, TikTok live streams, YouTube vlogs. 1 second, Ava Sinclair, the internet's golden girl, was waving from inside the see-through glass box. The next, she was slumped over, face down, blood pooling around her collarbone. And nobody, not a soul, saw anyone go in or out. Which was impossible, because the box was sealed. And Shawn Archer didn't believe in impossibilities. He stood 10 feet away from the scene now, jaw clenched, watching the reflection of blue and red sirens dance across the mirrored floor of the gallery. The place was called Reflect, a hyper-minimalist art exhibit in downtown Manhattan, where even the walls seemed to shimmer with secrets. But it wasn't the art drawing the crowd tonight, it was the corpse. Beside him, Rachel Monroe pulled her blazer tighter around her shoulders. She was pale, her usual calm fractured by the surreal horror of what they'd just walked into. "You're telling me no one left that box?" she whispered, eyes on the security footage, looping silently on the mounted screen behind the crime scene tape. "No one," Shawn murmured. "And there are cameras everywhere, inside, outside, visitors, influencers, staff, even the elevator feed." Rachel nodded once, eyes scanning the crowd. Then whoever did it didn't leave. Shawn turned to her, or they were never inside to begin with. That was the kind of line that could ruin your sleep. This wasn't the kind of crime that let you sleep anyway. The body was still there. Ava Sinclair, 27 years old. Net worth in the millions, followers in the millions more. A woman whose every breath had been broadcast in Ultra HD to a world obsessed with her filtered perfection. And now she was dead inside a featureless cube that had no doors, no seams, no vents, and no visible method of entry. It wasn't just a locked room mystery, it was a locked glass room mystery, and every inch of it had been recorded live. Rachel crouched down near the velvet ropes the NYPD had hastily strung up. No blood spatter on the walls, which means single wound, likely piercing trauma. "Neck, just under the jawline," Shawn said. "You bleed out faster from there." But she didn't scream. Rachel looked up. She didn't even flinch. Right, which means she either didn't see it coming, or she didn't realize it happened. Rachel frowned. "How do you not realize you're being stabbed?" The crowd outside the gallery was still buzzing. Some people were crying. Others were laughing nervously, clutching their phones like holy relics. But every single one of them had their own version of the moment. Every single one of them thought they'd seen the truth. And every single one of them was wrong. Earlier that day, Ava had posted a story, live at the Reflect exhibit. "Oh my God, this is so trippy. Is this what heaven looks like if you're a narcissist?" She was sitting cross-legged inside the now infamous cube, wearing a silver silk dress that shimmered like water under the lights. Behind her, the reflections in the mirrored room created an endless tunnel effect. Dozens, maybe hundreds of Avas stretched out behind her, like she was sitting inside her own algorithm. Shawn had watched the clip 30 times already. More like 50, Rachel said. The box was custom-built by the artist Koji Hayasaka, a Japanese illusionist turned installation genius known for immersive pieces that played with perception. According to the gallery brochure, this one was titled, "The Algorithm Eats Itself," a metaphor, they'd said. Now it was a crime scene. Rachel leaned into Shawn. What if the cube's not what it looks like? What if it's not actually one room? Shawn nodded slowly. Or what if it's not actually solid? They turned toward the gallery curator, a tightly wounded man named Lucas Weber, who'd spent the last hour sweating through his linen suit and arguing with police. "I want the blueprints," Shawn said flatly. Lucas blinked. What? You're not NYPD." Shawn pulled out a slim leather wallet and flipped it open to reveal a laminated ID. Special Consultant, Metropolitan Cold Case Division. He didn't technically have authority, but he had Rachel. And Rachel had the mayor's number on speed dial. 15 minutes later, they were inside the basement archives, poring over the construction documents for the cube. And that's when they saw it. Not a flaw, not a secret hatch, something stranger. An optical trick buried in the layering of glass, mirrors, and lighting. Rachel looked up, face pale. "It's not one box," she said. "It's two." Shawn's eyes narrowed. "A double shell." "Exactly. One real, one fake. The front-facing pane is slightly curved inward. It bends light just enough to make it seem like you're re-looking at a single continuous space. But there's a 3-inch gap between the shells. Shawn exhaled. Big enough for a mechanism, or a weapon, or a hand. Back in the exhibit, the forensics team had just finished their initial sweep. The preliminary report was grim. No foreign fingerprints inside the cube, no entry points. No fibers, no prints, no blood trails. Ava's body had a single puncture wound near the carotid, clean and surgical. Time of death: 7:14 p.m. Ava had smiled at the camera at 7:13. The live stream froze at 7:15. 2 minutes. One wound. No killer in sight. Rachel stood by the glass now, her breath fogging it slightly. There is no way someone stabbed her through the gap, unless they knew the exact spot to strike. That's not luck, that's precision. Or it was done automatically, Shawn said. She turned to him. You think it was mechanical? I think it was timed. Maybe motion triggered. Maybe remote. Rachel's brows knit. But how would anyone know she'd lean just right? Shawn gestured toward the crowd of influencers still gathered outside. Because that's what she always does. Shawn's theory was brutal in its simplicity. Ava Sinclair had been trained by the algorithm. Same angles, same poses, same tilt of the neck. Over and over again, across years of content. Whoever built the trap knew her patterns better than she did. Which meant the killer wasn't just watching her. They'd studied her, obsessed over her, predicted her every move, and used her own reflection to destroy her. Rachel looked at the footage again. This wasn't a murder of passion. It was a murder of pattern. Shawn's mouth tightened, and it was made for an audience. The autopsy report confirmed their suspicions. The wound was made by a fine, needle-like blade, likely no thicker than a knitting needle, but with enough force behind it to pierce flesh and artery. The angle was everything. If Ava hadn't leaned exactly how she did, at exactly the time she did, she might still be alive, but she'd leaned. Same moment, for that perfect shot. Because she always leaned. Same pose. Rachel turned to Shawn in the cold silence of their shared apartment later that night. You realize what this means, right? Yeah. It wasn't just about Ava. It was about all of us. The way we repeat ourselves. The way we let the mirror shape us. This killer didn't just build a trap. They built a metaphor. Shawn looked up from his laptop. Rachel's voice was barely a whisper. Manhattan pulsed with lights and movement. A city always watching, always recording, always reflecting, and everyone applauded. Outside their window, but not everything in a mirror is real. And not every death is visible, even when the whole world is watching.